Hi everyone. For those of you with access needs, I want to first start by describing myself. I'd be described as a white woman with brown hair that rests above my shoulders. I'm wearing a black dress, and behind me is a plant and white walls. I'm so grateful to be here with you all today to celebrate ADA Day. My name's Hannah Olson, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Chronically Capable. Chronically Capable is a talent marketplace and community connecting chronically ill and disabled professionals to inclusive employers. We are changing the way chronically ill and disabled people work by redefining career structures and providing our community with opportunities that are in balance with their health needs. I got into this work after my own experience, navigating the workplace while living with an invisible disability. At 20 years old, I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease. At 21, I had a PICC line placed in my arm, just weeks after graduating from college. At 22, I had to leave my dream job due to the aggressive treatment protocol that required me to be hooked up to my IV for up to 8 hours a day. I struggled with, is there a place for people like me? Is there a place for people with illness and disability in the workplace? And for a while, I thought that there wasn't. As I learned about the depth of chronic illness and disability in the United States, I was alarmed. In some ways, I was comforted to know that I wasn't alone. But ultimately, I was angry that there were millions of people out there like me struggling to find meaningful and inclusive work opportunities. So from that point on, I became determined to create employment opportunities for those living with chronic illnesses and disabilities. My hopes are that through Chronically Capable's ambitions, nobody will ever have to decide between their health and their career again. We've all had a crazy year. And now, as COVID restrictions are loosening and the country is settling into a new normal, the disability community has mixed feelings about the future of the workplace, and rightfully so. For many, returning to normal means exclusion and inaccessibility. What's more, for those of us who are immunocompromised, a rush back to normal can carry significant risk, especially with the new Delta variant. No one should have to decide between their health and their work ambitions. During the pandemic, many workplace accommodations became commonplace. Things like workplace modifications, new schedules, and notably remote work. In March of 2020, just days after launching Chronically Capable, it was as if at the snap of some fingers, the world just went remote. And workplaces across the country, even across the globe, had to accommodate their employees. They had to make adjustments, and they had to make them fast, and they did. In many ways, this pandemic has shown companies that it is possible to increase accessibility, and more importantly, it's shifted the stigma that's often tied to working from home. From the employee perspective, in this past year, we saw an increase in employee productivity, employee happiness. And for the first time ever, employees and job seekers are now prioritizing flexibility and work-life balance, and they're expecting employers to make accommodations. Going forward, there's a real opportunity for businesses to take the lead in rolling out digital-first, accessible workplace plans that are inclusive of all Americans, including those living with disabilities and chronic illnesses. The Americans with Disabilities Act has led to major advancements that benefit both the disability and chronically ill communities to this day. As someone with a chronic illness, I am so thankful that laws exist to protect people like me from discrimination in employment, housing, and many other aspects of life. While today we're here to celebrate ADA Day, I do want to call attention to the fact that the national unemployment rate for people with disabilities is still more than double that of non-disabled Americans. 31 years after the passage of the ADA, we can do better. While inclusivity is driven by the top of any organization, it must be supported throughout. Companies taking a closer look at their own diversity and inclusion needs to consider how they can embrace and benefit from employees with disabilities. Leadership needs to step up, to speak out, and to self-disclose. This creates a culture where people feel more comfortable to disclose and ask for accommodations. Currently, only about 3% of people disclose their illness or disability to their employer. This is a vast gap from the 60% of our population with a chronic illness and 25% with a disability. If you're a woman in the C-suite, I am sure you are proud and comfortable to share that. I am. But we do not see disabled people in the C-suite being open about their disabilities. Beyond providing an inclusive space to disclose, employers must take the initiative to tap into those broader pools of candidates and focus on hiring individuals whose disability or chronic illness would not stop them from being an excellent team member. Come join us at Chronically Capable. We have over 50,000 job seekers ready and able to work. Ultimately, organizations need to ensure that they are open to applicants of all abilities by being mindful of barriers in the application and interview processes and fostering an inclusive workplace culture. The challenges of participating in a traditional interview process should not compromise how a candidate who may be highly qualified and effective is viewed. Same goes with the challenges of participating in the day-to-day of a workplace. I will reiterate that no one should ever have to decide between their health and their career ambitions. So moving beyond the pandemic, we must continue to support remote and non-traditional workplace plans that include those living with disabilities and chronic illnesses. We must continue to provide accessible technology and policies that don't exclude but include those with disabilities in our workplaces. Moving beyond the pandemic, we must continue to support remote and non-traditional workplace plans that include those living with disabilities and chronic illnesses. And we must continue to provide accessible technology and policies. I mentioned the fear that my community is facing today. We are fearful that we just got a taste of greatness and now we will be stripped of it. We fear that things will go back to how they were pre-pandemic. It's time that the chronically ill and disabled community gets their fair shot at work. We now know it's possible. It's up to businesses to be actively inclusive by providing job opportunities and accessible hiring practices for all individuals living with chronic illnesses and disabilities. The time is now. Thank you.